The score this morning. Shams is back. Kmart is rolling. Mr. Wilbon is here. What a delight. Han is here. Lewis Riddick after the draft. We got everything covered for you. But we begin with a garden party squared. We had action in New York and in Boston last night, and it was all significant. Here we go. Wilbon, you were there last night to watch Jalen Brunson and the Knicks in the critical Game 5 against the Hawks, tied at 2 apiece. We know all the numbers. Early second quarter. Alan, you're doing the game. Just how physical Karl Anthony Towns was inside.
He has been a dominant force in this series. The Hawks have no answer for him. And when he plays like this, the Knicks look like a team that can make a run.
Look at him here, using his big body. Knicks by 16 points. We're still in the first half. And then it's KAT. Shams, he's such a good passing big man.
And we've seen his game continue to get better and better as the series has gone on.
That's a great little dime for Jalen Brunson, taking it strong. Wilbon, you were there last night. The Knicks were turning defense into offense, and it's Brunson on the other end.
Honestly, a lot of Brunson. I didn't think Brunson was going to have one of those games like last year deep in the playoffs. He did.
Fourth quarter now. The Knicks are up by 18, and it's Brunson, and it's Mitchell Robinson. Full extension. He's throwing it home. Knicks up 20. Celebrity Row got a lot of attention last night. It was a one-sided
whole row.
Brunson taking it strong. Brunson was 5 of 6 in the fourth quarter for 17 fourth quarter points. Carmelo Anthony loves what he's seeing. Knicks pulling away. Brunson again, he would finish with 39, 8 assists. Back-to-back one-sided affairs in the Knicks' favor. They're up 3-2. 126-97 is the final. A lot of panic in New York after a couple of one-point losses in games 2 and 3. But now it looks like all Knicks. Yesterday was Brunson's 12th 30-point playoff game at home with the Knicks. Look at that. Ties Patrick Ewing for the most in team history. Brunson shot 65% from the floor last night. I told you it was a garden party because while that was happening in New York, this was happening in Boston. The confounding Celtics at home trying to close out the Sixers, but positively collapsing in the fourth quarter, losing 113-97, a 16-point loss, the largest playoff loss in franchise history in a game in which they led going into the fourth quarter. So they head back to Philly now for a Game 6. And the Celtics are a streaky shooting team. Last night's fourth quarter was historically bad. Celtics missed their last 14 shots to end the game. That is the second most to end a playoff game by any team since we started tracking that in the late 90s. Overall, in the fourth quarter, they shot 13%. That's their worst in any quarter under Joe Mazzulla in any game, regular season or playoffs. And so it is my delight to begin the show today by saying we are playing our favorite game, and that is Mike Greenberg, professional overreactor. I am here today to tell you, after what we saw last night, Mr. Wilbon, that the Knicks have found the formula, and the Celtics, for all of the great story that it is with Tatum coming back and everything, they reminded us they're this team that plays with their food. They lose these ridiculous home games for no reason. The Knicks are going to the finals. What do you think?
That's not that big an overreaction, Greeny. As a matter of fact, you know, because I will often text you during the show as if you can see it then, saying, Greeny, you have lost your mind. No. And the Celtics, the thing is, they throw in routinely one clunker a series. Even on the way to the championship that year, one clunker. To have a second one like this again at home, it was bothersome. Either they're cavalier about it and they don't think much about it, or they can't do anything about it. Either way is not good news. The Knicks did discover something in Game 4. I thought Atlanta would snuff that out. Karl Anthony Towns as either secondary or I don't want to say primary playmaker. That's still Jalen Brunson. They found it. They went to it again last night. Maybe it's something that's sustainable, and it is fair to wonder. I'm not sold on Cleveland, Toronto. It's fair to wonder, okay, have we overrated and overstated the Celtics?
That is the question that we're posing this morning. And then as far as the Knicks are concerned, that Karl Anthony Towns, we said it going into the series, you keep pointing out, even when the Knicks were down in the series, or primarily after it was 2-2, the point differential all suggested that the Knicks had the big advantage. They just couldn't find ways to win games 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think the point differential now in this series is like plus 44. You know, for a 3-2 series doesn't make sense. But the games they've won handily. The games they've lost by 1 in both of those instances. And you making that reaction makes me wonder if I did see you last night on 7th Avenue chanting, "We want Boston," because there was a lot of people doing that last night. But what you're saying, though, last night gives you reason to believe that because of what Boston showed us, the bad body language they had in this game, as if they thought the series was over. I certainly thought it was over. Once Embiid came back and slowed the Sixers down, you figured the Celtics were going to win this thing easily. They rely a lot on their threes. They believe in it. They stick to it. And we saw last year in the Knicks series, when they couldn't make a three, the Knicks beat them in their own building. That's the dangerous part for them. For the Knicks, what you're seeing is a change in philosophy offensively that I don't think they wanted to reveal in this first round. I don't think they really wanted to have to pull that out. But when they went down 2-1, they had no choice. They had to. They look like it's – how do you stop that offense right now? That and their defense is giving you reasons to believe that if we get that Boston-New York matchup in the second round, the Knicks have a very good chance of winning it again.
And that's what this is on a collision course for, right? And assuming the Celtics are able to take care of business up 3-2 and the Knicks take care of business up 3-2, that's what this is all about. And so the Knicks had control of that series last year before Jason Tatum even tore his Achilles. And so now when you think about it, I'm from the outsider perspective. Alan, you live here on a daily basis. I think there needs to be some levity with the Knicks. We know they're going to be in the thick of it, whether it's in the second round, the conference finals. I don't know how many people, I'm sure, like my phone was blowing up when the Knicks went down 2-1. People around the league. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? I'm like, let this series play out. Now it's 2-2. Then it becomes 3-2. They're going to be in the thick of it. And I'm sure Jim Dolan setting the expectation early in the year that he expects his team to go to the finals. That probably plays a large part in what I get, the feedback I get around the league.
We got two Chicago guys here this morning, and one he hosts a local talk show in New York. We got two guys here from Chicago, Michael and Shams. You were telling me this morning the overreaction. I got to use my nameplate of Knicks fans you find to be second to none.
No, I mean it's all over. Like I was getting asked when they were tied 2-2. You know, are they going to do this with this person, that with that person?
They're going to fire Mike Brown. Let's face it. Let's hear what you're saying. On Sunday, Mike Brown was on Saturday morning, Mike Brown was getting fired. Now the Knicks are going to the finals. That's what it's like living here.
And I personally don't like the ebbs and flows. I just deal in reality and the facts. But that's the nature of this business.
Those are the calls I got on the show. The call I got on the show Monday was all the replacements for Mike Brown. The call we got yesterday was, how do they beat the Celtics? The series not even over yet. That is, they don't live in the now.
Well, but you know what? There's a reason. I'm going to go historical for a second. Yeah. I loved being in that building last night, but part of the reason I love it is because those ups and downs Shams produced. You were a kid watching those games, cheering for the other team as I sort of was in the building. The Knicks lost so many of those games. The game fives. Alan, you know. And I walk in, the first person I see is somebody that I have known and covered since he was 18 years old. Patrick.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about that specifically, but it brought it all to mind. The games against the Pacers, the games against the Bulls, they have had these moments, these moments in time. And you know that building gets tight, so it's not just the ebb and flow of the crowd, it's the whole city and the legitimate question of whether it actually affects the team.
Yes, it does.
It did not last night.
Well, Jalen Brunson is why. The Chicago guy. Jalen Brunson is why. Because he's the guy that through this run so far, in those moments, he closed the door. He was Enter Sandman. He was Mo Rivera last night. Because that was that moment in the game where you felt like, can they put this team away once and for all? And that's when Brunson, who had not shot well in this series, took over and turned out
17 points in the fourth.
So here's how I see them, Michael. O.J. Anunoby is a terrific player, and he has some huge nights.
Yep.
Mikal Bridges, we got to figure out what exactly is happening. That they need to figure out exactly what's happening there. And Brunson, I think, is practically a given. He's the closest thing to a sure thing. To me, that team goes as Karl Anthony Towns goes. When he plays the way he has played in these last two games and the way he played in Game 1, I think the Knicks are legitimately, I can have all my fun with my professional overreactor stuff. When he plays like this, because he handles the ball, he is as good a passing big man, basically, as there is in the league.
Maybe better than anybody thought.
Right, almost running like a point position from the top of it. And when he uses gets that big body down there and all that, he, to me, is the X factor.
Well, he is, and I'll push back on Allen just a little bit. I think it's good that the Knicks had to go to this when they did. Sort of in Game 3, fully in Game 4, and obviously in Game 5, because they need some time to play this way together.
Okay.
I don't think they need to just sort of drag it out because it's a necessity in the next series.
Yeah.
They can now get comfortable with playing this way. You know, Karl Anthony Towns needs that comfort level himself to do this and to play consistently this way, Greeny. And Brunson needs to get used to it as well, where he doesn't have to have the ball. He had it last night in the fourth quarter, but not every minute of every quarter of every game.
And it wasn't a lot of dribble either. You know, for Towns, I talked to him after the game, and one of the things I said to him was, you know, you're a guy that averages double figures in rebounding. You're a guy that can score, shoot threes, but he seems to get more joy out of passing. And his face lit up. He goes, absolutely, I do. He sees himself in that Jokic kind of role in an offense. They call him the hub right now of that offense. That's a completely different look than anything we've seen this entire